Alright, so new episodes of Star vs. the Force of Evil have officially started up. These are new episodes. These aren't ones that aired weeks or months ago. And I am so psyched to be able to talk about them so soon after their release. The problem is, Disney has decided to air all of these episodes as double premieres, turning the next few weeks into effectively a giant Star nuke. And my schedule is kind of jam-packed. I honestly don't know when I'm going to get to talk about these episodes unless I use my Tuesday and Friday slots. That does not mean that I'm going to stop reviewing Teen Titans and Transformers Prime. It just means that those are going to have to be put on the back burner. If I have time, I will get them out during the week. Like, I hope to have time to get Teen Titans and Transformers Prime out this Friday on the same day. The problem is that's probably not going to happen every week. Stuff does come up. Still, I'm psyched to be able to talk about these episodes, particularly this first one, Butterfly Follies, because it's the only one of the two that have aired so far that I've seen yet. But boy, was it a good episode. This show is just consistently really impressive to me. Right out the gate, the animation this season looks just as good as the animation has the entire series so far. I liked it a lot, but there's so much more to talk about here, so let's get the summation out of the way first. And because this is a Star episode, it's not going to be super complicated, so let's just blow right through it. Star is looking for her mom. She's in a prison tower somewhere within the Kingdom of Muni, and she's using magic without the wand. Now, I don't like this, and not because I predicted that she wouldn't be able to do it yet. I don't like this because I don't feel like she ever earned it. Because this is yet another episode about Star having shirked her responsibilities. And yet, she's able to do magic without the wand, seemingly being rewarded for shirking her responsibilities. But I'm going to let it slide and trust that this season is going somewhere cool with this storyline and that I won't care by the end. What's important here is that Star is searching the Kingdom of Muni for Moon. For whatever reason, she hasn't gone back to the realm of magic. Like, it becomes very apparent through the dialogue in this episode that she hasn't thought to go back to the realm of magic and look for her mom there. But then at the end of the day, how would she really? She can't protect herself from the memory erasing effects of that place. At least not yet. And we do know that the realm of magic connects to a lot of different places. Maybe those places are physical places on Muni. Maybe Moon is back on Muni somewhere. I'd just prefer that she wasn't. I think it'd be super cool if we got to actually quest through the realm of magic. Still, this first episode already is throwing me a lot of curveballs. It's already completely upending the predictions that I made about it. And that's fantastic. I don't want the season to go the way that I predicted. That would be super boring. Point is, as they search, and as we learn that Moon is not at this tower, and that Star has already checked this tower 2 other times prior to this, and so she probably should have known that Moon wasn't there. We learn that not only is Star becoming desperate in her search, but also she has given up the kingdom to Eclipse, I guess. Letting Eclipse keep the wand gave Eclipse back the kingdom. I didn't expect that that would be the case, but it makes sense. We learn that Star hasn't seen Tom in a while, but that Tom is keeping in touch with both her and Marco, and that he's confiding in Marco more than he is Star, which, I mean, I ship them, so that's cool, I guess, but I didn't expect it. And we learn that River is questing along with them for Moon, because of course he is. If he's not the king anymore, it would make sense for him to be out looking for his wife. And boy, his devotion to his wife is one of the highlights of this episode. We also learn, though, that Eclipse is not the best queen. She's using her power to grant monsters all these additional rights, but she's neglecting the humans. And like the fact that monsters do have all these additional rights and are able to move more freely through the kingdom is what gives Star her next lead towards finding her mom. It does seem that Moon is playing the part of Queen Moon in a play put on by some pie folk at a pie carnival. And so despite the fact that River insists that pie folk aren't to be trusted, that they're scammers, Star insists that they go and look for Moon there. It turns out, though, that it is just a play and that she is being played by an actor. Left with seemingly no other options, Star and Marco finally return home to Eclipse's palace, which is a different one than the palace that Moon and Star were using. This is where we get all the exposition about Eclipse that makes it very plain that she's not a good queen. She's in fact shirking her responsibilities, much the way that Star tends to shirk her responsibilities, spending most of her time focusing on trying to get Globgor out of the crystal, which I don't blame her for. But she does have things that she has to do. If she's going to govern these people, that has to be her first priority. But it is interesting. It does create even more of a parallel between Eclipsa and Star, and I'm not going to complain about that, because that's one of the most interesting things about their character dynamic. There was also a little bit of cryptic glossaric in this section where he suggested to Star, through answers to some of her questions, that maybe she shouldn't have visited the realm of magic at all, ever, not even to stop Toffee. But he had a hand in that, and so there's really no way of knowing what it is that he's trying to say here. So I'm just not going to worry about it at the moment. We find out that Star believes that she will find Moon because of a photo that she got from Father Time, one which is set in the future and shows her far happier than she thinks she could ever be if she doesn't find her mother. And then we get another lead. It turns out that one of the pies that Marco bought from the pie folk is made in a characteristic way that only Moon makes pies, at least as far as Star knows. There could be some coincidence here and someone else just happens to make them the same way. But they have another lead. And now they have to head to the island where the pie folk come from. That sounds like a fantastic idea, he says sarcastically. Because the pie folk hated them. The pie folk hate the butterflies. The play that they put on was satire, obviously, but it was very cruel satire, pointing out every mistake that the family has made, playing up all of their negative traits which they don't even really display as much anymore. But it was interesting in that it gave Star the chance to look at herself and see what weaknesses other people see in her. Like, I don't know how much it's going to help her grow beyond the character deficiencies which still exist now, because they were pointing out weaknesses in her character that she's already grown beyond. But then she also seems to have regressed a little bit as a character, once again shirking her responsibilities. If Eclipsa's not going to run the kingdom properly, Star should be there to help her. Like, you can tell from the way that Star and Eclipsa interacted that Star doesn't entirely feel that Eclipsa's doing the right thing here. She should be there advising her at the very least. She has proven that she feels a responsibility to her people, and yet this whole thing with her mom has distracted her from that. It's the exact same situation as Eclipsa and Globgor. Neither one of them is taking care of people as well as they need to be. The people beneath them, the humans beneath them, probably shouldn't be so far beneath them, but they are. That's just the way things are in this world. They need someone to govern them, and no one's doing that. And at the same time, Eclipsa is elevating monsters while ignoring the humans. It's going to be the humans who rebel, not the monsters. That's going to be the final conflict of the season. At least that seems to be the way that it's shaping up. This episode was super interesting. It laid groundwork for the rest of the season, or at least it seems to be laying groundwork for the rest of the season. It reestablished the status quo very succinctly, showing us the state of this world in the background of the rest of the episode as things were happening prominently in the foreground, which shows the quality of writing on this show. And on top of that, it was super funny. There were funny scenes all throughout this episode. I laughed out loud at several of them, despite the fact that the subject matter itself is pretty serious. Marco, in particular, in this episode, was top form. His interactions with Tom over the phone and then with River throughout the rest of the episode were just fantastic. And holy crap, Baby Meteora is the most terradorable thing I've ever seen. That, if you can't tell, is a portmanteau of terrifying and adorable. She is the most terrifying and adorable thing that I have ever seen. She is equal parts both, and I loved every second that she was on screen and hope to see her much, much more. End of the day, this was a fantastic episode which did an excellent job of setting up what looks to be the conflicts of this season. Both Star's inner conflict to finally overcome her flaws and her outer conflict to find her mom, as well as what seems to be a brewing conflict between the humans and the monsters, with the humans as the aggressors. I can't wait to see where it goes, and I can't wait to sit down after I'm done editing this review and watch the next episode, Escape from the Pie Folk, I think is what it's called, and start putting my thoughts on that episode to paper. Again, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get a Teen Titans review out to you guys today. I hope that this makes up for it. But if not, like I said, I'm going to try to get it out by Friday. As per usual, guys, I'd like to know, what did you think of this episode? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.